Just the key fundamentals: discipline, commitment, work ethic.
The only advice you can pass on to any client or potential vendor is to actually look more at the experience.
To grow in life, you need to step outside your comfort zone.
Reflecting on what you would actually tell yourself if you went back to day one or that first month in real estate.
Build your team with the right people around you.
Could have taken the easy road, but went with what we thought was best for the client.
The day you plant the seeds, not the day you eat the fruit.
Welcome to another K-Series podcast, and today we have Troy Dowker, one of Kollosche's leading sales agents. Troy, welcome.
Thank you for having us. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah. So look, probably today we might just cover a bit of your story in real estate, where you began, what you were doing beforehand, and sort of that journey that you've been on. So let's probably start there.
Yeah, I started in the industry in 2003, but prior to that I was in the surfing industry, and we had a family seafood business, so that was always an interesting time, especially with the product testing. always product testing the prawns and oysters, but that was definitely the perks of the job. Went through the surf retail industry for a few years. A couple of friends of mine who you know pretty well got me into real estate, or they sort of influenced me. They were the catalyst at the time to get into the industry and inspired me. Much like yourself, started with the Ray White brand I was there for 16 and a half years, and then joined forces with yourself and the Kollosche brand in February 2020.
Yeah, 3 years. So your time with Ray White, obviously you kicked off with them in the early 2000s. You were with them for about 15 years, was it?
Yeah, just over 16 and a half years. Started October 2003 and was there for 16 and a half years, which got a lot of fond memories there and great friends still that work there. And it was a good foundation to start my career.
And what sort of core market were you focusing on down there?
Predominantly I was really heavily hyper-focused on Currumbin, but with the minimal number of transactions, I soon learned that you sort of had to spread your wings and go further afield into a larger sort of core trade area, not just focus on that one specific location. But I always had a passion for beachfront and beachside, because growing up in the ocean and having a love of surfing really resonated with me to focus on that sector of the market. Yeah,
so all that southern end of the coast, from sort of probably Kirra up to Palm Beach, running all the beachfront stuff through that.
Yeah, Burleigh Heads to Kirra, Balinga, that area, and you've got down to Snapper Rocks, even Coolangatta, and then funny enough, you've got the best point breaks in Australia there as well. So if ever I had a 45-minute break in the schedule, I could always go for a quick board meeting.
Yeah. So. And so you obviously didn't start with beachfront property, did you? Or how did you move from that? So for anyone at the earlier parts of their career, I guess what I'd like to step into is how you moved through into the prestige market.
Yeah, no, I never started there. I really wanted to hone my craft and improve my commercial and business acumen before I, work with any owner in the prestige sector. I started around Burleigh Waters. Average sale price was around $300,000. You remember those days back in 2003. And then after a couple of years, sort of really focused on that beachside market before I started, and then sort of made a natural progression to the beachfront market around about 2007. Yep. So it was around about 4 years in before I sort of elevated myself to that upper tier of the market.
And you've always sort of competed, or somewhat, I'll use the loose word, professionally with surfing, in state titles and national titles. Not quite at the top league, but pretty close to it. How do you think that sort of influenced your real estate career as well?
It has some pretty significant parallels, I think, whether you're a professional sportsman. I never got to a professional level, sort of pro-am but more amateur than professional, even back in the mid to late 90s. There was such a big talent pool in Australia with surfers, so it was really hard to crack into that. But I think the main thing is, just the key fundamentals, which is discipline, commitment, work ethic, eating well, sleeping well, exercising, looking after your body. I think that all sort of applies to the craft and real estate as well. So those key fundamentals are paramount if you want to succeed, whether you're in a professional sport or just with everyday well-being, or whether you want to succeed in business.
Yep. And so your time at Ray White, you're probably one of the top performers there in the state. I guess making the decision to leave the company and your comfort zone there and move across to an independent is never easy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, it was a very, very difficult decision at the time. Obviously, because of the family ties that I had there and a lot of great experiences. I think to grow in life, you need to step outside your comfort zone and make certain decisions in life to do so. And the reason that I did that was obviously to work with a high net worth pool, clientele base, a more affluent client base, and obviously working with yourself, bouncing off you with certain things. I think you've added a lot of value to my business, and I think we've bringing our auction culture into this as well over the last 3 years has really inspired a lot of the agents here around their performance with auctions as well. So, but look, it's a great decision in hindsight, and it's been fruitful.
And tell me about some of your auctions that over the course of the last couple of years, there's been some pretty, I guess, significant and memorable ones. Do you want to any come to mind that you want to touch on?
Yeah, absolutely. There's 3 there that have been right at the highlight reel, top of the highlight reel. I mean, they're all pretty special in their own regard, but late last year we did 10 to 12 Eleanor Drive in Burleigh Heads, which we sold for $9.7 million. That one's definitely a standout. And then we had
that one there. Tell us, give us a quick sort of rundown on the program, the summary, and how that played out.
Yeah, we had
what was significant about it.
Yeah, we had just the attributes of that property was definitely a trophy asset for Burleigh Heads and the Southern Gold Coast in general. And the way we marketed the property, we brought a lot of buyers out of area to consider that offering and that opportunity. The underbidder was actually shopping on Sovereign Island and had never considered Burleigh Heads. So, and if he wasn't there, he played a pivotal role for us to achieve the result that we did. The reserve was $8.2 million. It sold for $9.7 million, so $1.5 million over. And it really came as a testament to the vendor, really, for what they'd created there, and also the location. Certainly, our role played a part in achieving that result on how proactive in the process. But I think coupling that with the vendor and the location certainly helped to achieve the result that we did.
And 13 registered bidders from memory?
It's 13 or 14 in that vicinity, absolutely. And it was an absolute frenzy.
Yep. Tell us about the other 2.
Yeah, the other 2 would be, they were early this year, so 69 Jefferson Lane, which was sort of like a Tuscany Mediterranean style of house. We had similar bidding numbers there as well, around 14 registered. The reserve on that was 6.5. We sold it for 8.9, so it sold for $2.4 million over. And I think that's also highlights the importance for any owner out there to really engage and appoint an agent that specialises in the beachfront market. A property 2 doors to the south had sold 14 months earlier, and there was no real growth over that time. With a non-beachfront agent for 6.35, and we achieved 8.9. So when
private treaty or auction?
Yeah, they did an EOI on the other one. So you're looking at $2.55 million difference. So it really does illustrate how important it is to choose the right agent to achieve a premium.
And also based on experience, I see too often that a lot of clients want to select their agent based on their fee or the minimal amount of marketing spend that they put forward, or potentially the price that they quote them that they can achieve, without actually having any sort of robust strategy behind it. And I guess the only advice you can pass on to any client or potential vendor is to actually look more at the experience and the recent results of the agent, as opposed to the rubbish that they tell you. So it's become quite evident with a lot of people that are new to market, that might have been in the industry for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, that through COVID they made a career out of walking in and promising the world, and the market caught up with that. But now with a bit of a changing environment, that strategy doesn't work without understanding how to follow the process and execute properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great points there. I think it's more about the seller understanding the intricacies of the process, the value that you can bring to the table as an agent and a brand. And, you really want to have a proactive, robust strategy and execute with precision. So, if you're diligent around all that, there can be a great result. And I think the due diligence that a vendor has to do on an agent, it's really important. Days on market, their auction clearance rate, average sale price, how many properties they'd sold in the last 6, 12, 18 months.
Number of bidders at auctions.
Number of bidders, all those key metrics are really important. So I think that's where we can separate ourselves from the competition, because we do excel in those key metrics.
How important do you think collaboration is within the business? Obviously, I know from where I sit, I get a lot of agents from other companies that come to me regularly and say that they have no support within their agency. They run individual silos. They can't even talk on the phone in the same room for fear of someone undercutting them and trying to do the wrong thing. Obviously the environment we've built here is extremely conducive to collaboration and sharing and open database. And I know from when we go to auctions, there's multiple agents that are there helping, supporting, even though they're actually not getting anything out of it. So how's that made a difference to you and your business?
I think the unwavering support throughout the team is incredible here, and having that open database. Look, I think sometimes what you might lose on the swing, you pick up on the merry-go-round, So I think you just got to have that open mindset, not a fixed mindset. That's really important. And at the end of the day, it's all about celebrating each other's success. That's what I really love about the culture here, and I think that's what you've done so well over the last few years, building that culture within the brand.
Yeah. What was that? What was the third auction result you were going to tell us about?
The third
Tugun,
auction.
was it?
The third auction result was 670 Pacific Parade at Tugun. So the family had owned that property for 60 plus years. We were dealing with the executors of the estate. Obviously, a very, very sensitive time for them, which you really have to take that duty of care with any vendor, but obviously when it's a deceased estate, it's there's extra sensitivity there and empathy. So the reserve on that was $6.5 million, and we sold that for 9.1, 2.6 million over reserve. And then again, the property was in an outstanding location. If you missed out on that one, it's not like, well, can I buy another one? It was a sort of a one-off, and that's certainly helped to help those attributes and the rare offering, unique availability of an asset like that help achieve the result that it did. And the market sort of recognised and resonated with that as well. So it was a great result to achieve that for the executors of the estate.
How important do you think actually working with your bidders and buyers is? Obviously, having those conversations pre-auction around bidding strategies and earning the right to obviously go up and talk to them through the auction campaign, rather than just having them turn up and wish and hope that they do what you want them to do.
Yeah, look, it's really important. There's so much work behind the scenes. I think a lot of vendors or a lot of clients may not realise that. A lot of moving parts. And I always think, like anything in life, if you work it hard, it becomes easy. If you work it easy, it becomes hard. So all those bidding strategy meetings, all those touch points, all the follow up is absolutely crucial to help position those bidders and help them, give them the best opportunity to acquire the property as well on auction day. So a lot of that work, that 3 to 4 weeks leading to an auction's absolutely paramount.
And you had another one in Currumbin, which was above the surf club there that I think you've forgotten about. I recall standing there in that property where the owners were considering pulling it a few days prior, I believe. You had interest in the sevens.
That was 746 Pacific Parade opposite Vikings Surf Club at Currumbin. There was we were engaged by the solicitors as the executive of the state. There was 4 beneficiaries. And look, as you know, it's like in any negotiation, it's not where they start, it's where they finish. And for us, it was more about just creating as much competition as possible with the deepest buyer pool, and let the process do its job on the day, which it was executed perfectly. And
focused on gathering bidders, got heaps of offers prior, and then on the day it just took off.
A lot of interest, and obviously then again it was a pretty rare offering as well. The property stood on its own 2 feet on the day, and ended up being 2 local Currumbin residents who already had land holdings and investments in the street that they were looking to upgrade their position, and they battled it out and sold for $10,125,000 under the hammer. Just that sale created a lot of hype in the area to kick off 2023. It was definitely a benchmark sale for the Southern GC.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, obviously, auction's probably your preferred method of sale, and I don't think there's many campaigns that you'd walk into without putting that forward as the first option, and it's easy to see why with results like that where you've sold things for so far above reserve. I remember you and I drove to Brisbane to see the owner of 69 Jefferson, and he was talking about listing that at a list price in the late sixes. And we persevered and pushed for the auction program, and end up selling it for $2.4 million over the reserve from
there. That's 8.9.
Yep. So I could have taken the easy road, but went with what we thought was best for the client, and ultimately paid dividends. So you've come across to Kollosche. You've been here now for 3 and a bit years.
Nearly 4 years in February. So
yep. And built your team here. What would you say have been the key fundamental differences here that have helped you really elevate? I know obviously you've 3x, 4x to your return since being under the brand, and consistently the front runner within the business. What are the key difference that have helped?
I think the main thing would be to obviously have the key people in the key positions with building a team, because as you know, look, systems and structure create capacity, and having a clear understanding of everyone's roles within that team. As you always mention, role clarity is paramount within your structure of your EBU. So that's certainly been the main focus, making sure everyone plays to their strengths. Look, certain things that I'm not good at, Ashley's good at, or James is good at, or Jasmine's good at. So it's just about all of us playing to our strengths and on where we can be most productive to our highest and best use.
Yep. And one of the top performers in the business, but still takes off the most amount of holidays and leave in the business. How does that balance play into things, and obviously the setup and structure that you've got? Let's just talk through some of that.
Yeah, look, I think for anyone in this industry, when you've got a business that's very strong, like we do, planning your holidays is paramount, because otherwise, if you don't plan, you never go, and you need time to recalibrate and rejuvenate. So, look, I'm always a lover for holidays, but mainly it's just for surfing and snowboarding and family. And we're home. We're actually going to work through all this Christmas and January. We're off to Japan mid-February, so I'd go get my little snow hit and in Japan, and that'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Buying a property by the beach doesn't have anything to do with this staying home this Christmas, I'm assuming. So first Christmas in the new home, so we're pretty excited just to enjoy the Southern GC lifestyle and Burleigh Heads. It's a great part of the world,
it's been a great lifestyle investment so far. Only 4 or 5 months in, but we're many years ahead.
I guess the one thing that is always interesting once you've been in this industry for as long as you and I have is reflecting on what you would actually tell yourself if you went back to day one or that first month in real estate. What is the advice that you'd actually give to that younger Troy Dowker, and obviously anyone else that's starting their career and wants to get to a point where they're sort of top of their game and one of the industry's peak performers?
No, I would. I think the main thing is to have a long-term vision, long-term plan, and then break that down into incremental steps on milestones, on where you want to progress through your journey. Definitely build your team with the right people around you. When you feel uncomfortable and you don't think it's the right time, just do it and commit to it. Because an investment in an extra team member can help elevate your business a lot faster than if you're just running solo. Systems and structure create capacity. So having those key people in those key positions, relationships is the most important thing in any business. So it's just how well you're going to sustain those and nurture those. So the person you meet today, you may not do business with for another 5 or 10 years. So I love that little cliche, the day you plant the seeds, not the day you eat the fruit. It just bodes so well for real estate. Everyone, I think whether you go to the shop, whether you go out for dinner, whether you meet, talking to someone out the surf, every interaction is an opportunity, essentially. And you never know where it may come from. And as you know, and I know, over the course of our career, we've had a lot of referrals and a lot of repeat business purely from networking, So I think if you're out there and you've got a duty of care, your heart's in the right spot, you can flourish and prosper.
Yeah. And how important do you think market knowledge is and product knowledge, and obviously that understanding of the process and how to execute it?
Absolutely. Product knowledge, you've got to know your market down to a key and all the intricacies around your square meter rates, all your key metrics. Certain suburbs have different streets even that perform better than others. And if you've really got a great understanding of the fabric of your marketplace, you can really convey that to a prospective buyer and help extract a premium out of that, which is going to be obviously a financial windfall for the client. So all those things are paramount to running a successful business.
Yeah, look, obviously real estate doesn't have a high barrier to entry, so it's not hard for people to go and do a 5-day course and be able to come in and represent some of people's biggest assets. So I've always found that causes a lot of challenges because they don't understand the process, they don't understand the market. They come in as an order taker, they promise the world, and then we obviously all get tarred with that brush and the performance that some of the others provide. So it's an interesting point. So we've implemented a new closing tradition where the previous speaker actually writes a question for the next speaker, and the question for you is, what is a habit that you have that most people might not be aware of?
Habit that I have that most, definitely my roller. I love stretching on my roller. I've got 2 rollers and this other back stretching device and my little ball. And you know what? Just get on there for half an hour a day, and non-negotiable, keeps everything flexible, limber, loose.
Coupled with your hot yoga.
Yeah, and a couple of odd sounds when I'm doing it. So my wife sort of goes, "What's going on in there?" But that would definitely be a habit. That's trying to get the knots out. That would be a habit that not many people are aware of. Yeah, it's all indoors at home. It's all set up next to my bed. Got my towel, everything there, and it's a must-do on a daily basis.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Troy. Hopefully, a lot of the listeners will get a lot out of that, and appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.